Welcome, everybody, or the one loyal viewer that we have to another edition of Nain Short, here in the roaming living room of the Wandering Ronin. I think that's his name. Something about shadows. Anyway, before we begin, just like you to notice that we do have a few books, The Journey of an Artist by Eric Lee, as well as The Lioness Within by Graciela Casillas, and of course, Legacy, a great book by Alde Cascos. Well, we send our prayers. Hopefully he's recovering well. I believe he was in the hospital recently, so reach out to him if you know him. But a lot of great information, a lot of great stuff from martial artists that have been doing it for a lot longer than I have, who have way more experience in so many things, including the idea of the person that we portray in the martial arts world. Now, I bring this up because for someone like me, it's been quite difficult to navigate those social nuances, the etiquettes that are involved in various forms of life. I'm sure you guys are more than aware that how you behave at work is not the same as you behave with your friends when you're out drinking, as you behave at home or with your family. There are all these things, different unspoken rules that kind of come up depending on the environment. And the martial arts world is no different. There are set standard and etiquettes that we follow because of the way things are, the way that we've been brought up, the way that the culture then expresses themselves. Even though martial arts becomes a very individualized expression of who you are as a person, overall in the community, we still have these guidelines that we need to follow and really uphold. And like I've said, for me, it's always been very difficult to understand any social etiquette, really. I don't know what it is in my head, but I'm kind of missing that little bit. For those of you who have watched some of my older episodes, you've heard me talk about how I find it uncomfortable to receive positive feedback. I'm very good at receiving negative feedback. You're messing up this way, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. I will work on my deficiencies all day long, but accepting positive reinforcement is still a little awkward for me, but it's something I've had to learn to overcome. And why I bring it up now is because lately I've been wondering whether or not I am truly humble. Now, humility is definitely one of those big characteristics in a good martial artist, or at least the way that I've seen and the things that I've heard from other people and the way people carry themselves. Humility is a big part of being a proficient martial artist when it comes to the social aspect of things. The physical skill, the training, all that, that's there, but the character development, that is a huge part, especially in my life, because of who I used to be. And Rick will tell you what big a-hole I was, and the way I carried myself is nothing like I do now, but a lot of that took effort, took conscious effort. It took somebody like Rick to say, hey, what you're saying is coming off this way. And every time he corrected me in those instances, it was a shock, because again, somehow that never clicked with me and I never understood it, and I really have to put a lot of effort to understand and grow from it and no longer portray those negative aspects of my character that would otherwise hinder my ability to be part of this group, because I finally found a group I want to be a part of for the rest of my life. I want to be in the martial arts world, and it's a small world. Everyone sort of knows everyone else. There's only a few degrees of separation between them. And if I want to flourish in this environment, then I need to develop the character that's going to be able to do so. And humility is a big part of that, or at least I think it is. And it's easy to downplay the things that you do know or don't know. it's simple to say, "Oh, I'm not that good," or "Oh, I've just been doing it for a little bit," and that does come off as humble. But are we really humble? Because I have to question that myself, whether or not when I do speak, when I am relaying information to other people, when I'm in front of a student, do I still come off as humble? Should I still come off as humble? Shouldn't I be confident in what I'm saying and understand what I'm saying and say it with great conviction? Or is there a better way of doing it where you still come off as humble but confident in what you're saying? And I bring it up because of other experiences I've had with other instructors where very humble. You hear their words, you hear the way that they carry themselves, and outside of teaching, awesome people. But the moment that they start teaching, their vigor, their confidence, that matter-of-fact way of speaking almost comes off a little arrogant. And I have to then reflect on myself and say, do I come off that way? Do I come off arrogant because of the energy that I'm putting into it? Do I come off prideful because of how excited I am about what I'm doing? Am I smiling too much? All these things start to really run through my head as to what kind of a person am I portraying in front of people. Because again, I don't want to alienate myself. I don't want to push people away. Most of the people that I know in the martial arts world, I really like. And I definitely respect all the people in the martial arts world, even the people that I don't like very much, which aren't many. But folks, in every aspect of life, there's always one or two people that we're not 100% okay with. And we might feel a little bit different about the fact that we have some sort of association with them. It happens. Relationships grow, they fall apart. What once was good can go bad, what was bad can then become good again. There are so many intricacies, and the reason these become important to me is because I have a hard time understanding them. I don't have a natural affinity when it comes to these things. So that's why these discussions, that's why these shorts are a big part of my training, because it is the mental, the psychological that I'm really trying to attune to. The practicing, I can practice, I can train, I can ask questions, I can be corrected, and I can go in that direction. But when it comes to the person, the character development, that's something I lack very much in. So I look to you guys also when I pose these questions as to what are your thoughts, what are your ideas, what have been your experiences, so I can get a better visual as to the kind of person I want to be and develop. That's what martial arts has become to me, is that vehicle that I can now mold who I want to be in the future. And I've met some people that I truly respect, and not only that I respect, but clear across the board are respected by almost the entire martial art community. Names that are well known, older individuals that have been training for many decades, and the way that they carry themselves has really made me question that about me, my humility. Because these individuals speak matter-of-factly. They say what they say and they mean every single word. They don't rush. They have no intent of convincing anyone that what they're saying is correct. They are sure of what they're saying. They're not putting anyone down, but at the same time, the things that they say, would rub somebody the wrong way, but nobody would ever say anything to them. Because one, they've earned that right. They've been in the world long enough and they've done great things in their own way that really no one can say anything bad about them. But also, they're older. Even outside of the martial arts world, there are elders in every sense of the word. And many cultures, including the martial arts culture, reveres the elders. We look upon them with a bit more respect. And how much of the way that I see these individuals is based off that. And if that is the case, does it mean that I have to wait? I have to be patient and put in the work, essentially pay my dues until I become one of the older people in the room, because I'm only 37. But at the same time, all my close friends are older than me. So I sort of view them as equals, or they view me as an equal. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I don't know quite how to frame that. And I'm not saying that I hold myself in any way to their level. Not at all. Meeting them has shown me great deficiency in my character. And I'm just wondering, how should I carry myself? How should I behave so I can put myself on a path to one day be like them? One day be seen and say, oh, this person is humble, but man, they're good. What they're saying makes a lot of sense, and some people's feathers might be ruffled because of it, but they're not insulting anyone. And they're not going out of their way to try to prove anything that they're saying. And at the same time, they're constantly open to new ideas. They're constantly looking at their own deficiencies in what they practice and what they know. Many of these individuals have stopped teaching large groups of people because they want to focus on their own personal development. They want to focus on that one or two student that is truly dedicated, that has surpassed the student level and has become a training partner. So I have to wonder where I am right now, and am I on the path of getting there? What deficiencies do I have in my behavior, in my character, that will hinder me from one day reaching that level? And it's not a level that you can say it's a title, even though these guys do have senior grandmaster titles, they have Sijo titles, but just the air about them, the personality that they have, the wisdom that they've earned. That's what I'm looking towards. That's what I'm trying to emulate. Maybe emulate isn't the best word to use, but one day be like them in my own version of it, right? So, am I truly humble? Do I definitively encompass that idea? Because here's the thing, folks. These people have taught me, just by talking to them, that you have to be sure of what it is that you're doing. That doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement, but you just have to know what you know and know it well. And how do you do that? How do you convey that without seeming prideful or arrogant in your own knowledge? I don't know if I am. I don't have an answer for that just yet, but I'm working towards it. And at the same time, these individuals, in one way or another, have acknowledged my capabilities, my efforts in both skill and mentality. And if I don't acknowledge their praise, am I now disrespecting them by not holding myself to that standard? And once again, I have to wonder, can I hold myself to that highest standard? Because folks, that is high praise. To have somebody you respect who's been doing martial arts a hell of a lot longer than you have say that you have something, saying that you are skilled, that you're on the right track, that you're on the right mindset, that are willing to actually train with you, not because they want another student, but because they feel it would be worth their while to pass something on to you. Like, how do you not let that get to your head? Because folks, that is the kind of praise that I look for. I'm not looking for title, and positive reinforcement still makes me uncomfortable, but it's hard not to be at all by receiving that sort of recognition. So ultimately, they're the kind of people I'd like to be. And I want to be in the martial arts world, so there definitely are character traits that are more beneficial than others. And because it is something that's difficult for me to do naturally, it's something I constantly have to work on. And thank God I have someone like Rick who actually enjoys all the misunderstandings that happen in my interactions with other people and laughs his ass off, but is still willing to point out, hey, this is the reason why you're having difficulty in this particular area. And I'm very thankful for that, because honestly, without it, most of you would hate me. That is the God's honest truth. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm literally just being incredibly candid and transparent about it right now. Because one thing I have learned from these grandmasters and Sijos is that you have to be completely honest with yourself. And that isn't easy to do. And not just myself, but I've seen it in other people. I don't know whether or not the responses to the things that we've discussed or talked about have been out of pride, have been out of some sort of ego, or genuine humility. These are things that I'm constantly wrestling with, trying to figure out, and hopefully I'll reach a good answer one day. But for now, folks, it's what goes on in my head. It's where my training is. How have you dealt with the idea of being humble? Is it something you just pretend at until you get really good at it? Is there some sort of formula that we can follow to reach true humility, true reverence for yourself, but also everyone around you? To speak candidly and openly without putting anyone down, without making it seem like, hey, what I'm saying is so matter of fact that I could pretty much say this is the right way to do things. Through my actions, through the way that I give information, not with words, but just by the sheer feel of it. And whether is that right? Is that correct or not? I don't know, but I'm going to keep on asking. I'm going to keep exploring. I'm going to keep trying to figure out as many answers as I possibly can. If you have any comments on that, please feel free to comment and add to it, because as much as you can possibly share, I'm going to take in and get a different perspective on the matter. Before I go, I'd like to mention that May 20th in San Carlos, Twin Dragons Kung Fu Academy, Sijo Johnny Oliva will be holding a t-shirt seminar that starts at noon. It's a 3-hour seminar. It's only $15 to join, folks. So if you have nothing going on that day, please make a note of it, and we would love to see you there. I know GM Bob's students as well as our students will be present, and it's going to be a great time. Every time I've joined one of his classes, it's been a lot of fun. Students take a lot from it. The instruction is great, and it's always fun. So if you can make it, please. It's only $15. Again, that's May 20th at 12 noon in San Carlos. Twin Dragon Kung Fu Academy. Sijo Johnny Oliva is doing a t-shirt seminar. All right, folks? Well, we're going to continue asking these questions. We're going to continue trying to develop not just the martial art skill, but the martial art character, and become a better person in the process. Thank you very much for your time. Until the next one. 3, 2, 1, cut!